Today I want to introduce you to my favorite hobby, watch collecting. In this video, I will tell you about some of the most important things you need to know about watches as a beginner. Let's start with the two different ways time can be displayed, analog and digital. An analog watch displays the time by using its hands pointing to markers on the dial. The term digital is often used synonymously to refer to time being displayed on an electronic display, but that is not entirely correct, since the word digital just means that time is displayed with written out numbers and not just indicated by pointing hands. Most digital time displays are electronic, for example on a digital quartz watch like this Casio or on a computer screen. Mechanical digital watches do exist, like this incredibly expensive model called Zeitwerk by the German watchmaker A. Lange und Söhne. A third possible way of displaying the time would be to combine both analog and digital, like many Casio G-Shocks do. I just named the two most important general categories of watch movements, electronic and mechanical, so let's talk about those. Electronic quartz watches are the most typically common and often the cheapest type you see. The name quartz comes from the quartz crystal built into the movement that measures the time by oscillating 32,768 times a second through a small electrical current from a battery. The fastest way to tell if an analog watch is driven by quartz is the second hand that ticks once every second. This is done to save on battery life. Quartz movements are also very accurate. The expensive ones can keep time within tolerances of 10 seconds per year. The other common type of movements are traditional mechanical ones, split into two subtypes, mechanical and automatic mechanical. These movements function by storing their power in a mainspring that powers a gear train and measures the time through an escapement wheel, a small wheel with a so-called hairspring that compresses and opens constantly, making the second hand tick multiple times a second. Mechanical movements use little synthetic jewels as bearings and on parts with more wear and friction for increased long-term durability. As I said earlier, these movements have two subtypes that differ by the way the mainspring is wound. The purely mechanical watches can only be wound by hand, normally by turning the crown. Automatic mechanical watches, on the other hand, can typically not only be wound by using the crown, but they can also wind themselves through a rotor that spins when the watch moves while on your wrist or in a watch winder. Because of the inherent nature of all mechanical things, you should service a mechanical watch regularly. That period can range from 5 to 10 years, sometimes even 15 or more. A luxury manufacturer that has managed to combine the best of both quartz and mechanical is Grand Seiko, with their unique spring drive movements resulting in a very accurate time measurement within 1 second a day or better, and a completely fluid sweep of the second hand. When looking for a watch to buy, it's easier if you know what purpose your watch will serve, what style and colors you prefer, and what quality aspects in materials and finishing matter to you. And your budget, of course. There are also many different styles and designs to choose from, for example dive watches, dress watches or sports watches, just to name a few. A thing to look out for is water resistance. The lowest level of water resistance is often specified through the words water resistant, 30 meters, 3 atm, meaning atmospheres, or 3 bar. That's enough to wash your hands or get a few drops of water on the watch in the rain. Because 30 meters doesn't mean swimming 30 meters underwater, but instead 30 meters under a static mass of water, resulting in 3 bars of pressure or 3 atmospheres. So the bare minimum to take your watch anywhere near water is 50 meters or 5 bar, but only for light swimming. For more intense activities in water or water sports, a minimum of 100 meters is better suited, especially if you have a screw-down crown that threads to the case of the watch and has extra seals. Dive watches are a great practical and versatile choice for an everyday watch. They start at 200 meters or 20 bar of water resistance. Most standard luxury dive watches nowadays are 300 meters, but some can go even deeper. An important aspect of build quality is the materials being used and how well they're finished. Materials go beyond just using precious metals. 316L stainless steel, for example, can be finished in different ways at very different levels and is the most common material in all price ranges. The cheapest of watches that try to appear like metal are either chrome plastic or cheap alloys with a coating. You can tell how well metal is brushed or polished by looking at it, especially under a loupe or macro lens. The glass of your watch also matters. There are 3 common types: acrylic, mineral and sapphire. Acrylic crystals, which are basically plastic, have a high shatter resistance, but they scratch very easily, so you have to polish them from time to time. Mineral crystals can be summed up as the same glass used for windows. They have a lower shatter resistance than acrylic, but they scratch less. Third are sapphire crystals, made from lab-grown clear sapphires that are cut and polished to a desired shape. Sapphire has the best scratch resistance of the three. It also has the lowest shatter resistance, but to shatter a sapphire crystal, you basically need to hit it with a hammer. Sapphires are the most common type of crystals used in luxury watches, but budget manufacturers have also started using them in watches starting from about 50 euros even. I hope you liked my short introduction to the world of watches, learned something new if you're a beginner, and I would be happy to welcome you to the watch enthusiast and collector community.